Hey everybody, welcome. It's Sarah with Autoimmune Tribe. Gonna put you guys here, I hope. Propped up on my computer. Okay, that works, cool. I got my book. And I just have water next to me, but grab your drink and get comfy. Okay. Does anyone else drink water? I always drink water out of wine glasses for some reason. I like it. And I'm gonna take notes because this is gonna be, hey Alex, this is gonna be really interactive tonight. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys are excited too. I'm gonna give it a minute or so for people. It looks like there's 5 people on right now, which is a little low percentage compared to our 80 plus who are in the group. I'm really burnt out in this light, aren't I? It's a little better. Okay, let's pick up Facebook group 2 to make sure we're live. Who was just in my Autoimmune Tribe group and just meditated with me? Give me a thumbs up. Hi, Shandy. Okay. We're live in the group. Cool. Who else is here? Pardis, I know you just meditated with me. Hi, Michelle. Cool. I'm going to keep this open on my computer too because on my phone I can only see the most recent comments, and I'm going to ask you guys to comment a lot tonight. So prepare yourselves. Write as fast as you can. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay was just meditating too. Awesome. Hi, Sue. Welcome. Hi, Stephanie. Cool. Looks like the computer comments are a little faster than the phone comments. All right, so if you're here, say hi. Let me know you're here. And just, hi, Wendy. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Okay, so it was like super light out at 4 o'clock for me when I just did the meditation, and now it's 5, and then the sun's probably gonna go completely down throughout this conversation. Hi, Christine. Okay, so last week was just a quick rundown of like, how is this gonna work, right? And I wanted to poll you guys, I wanted to have these conversations. And so this week we're really gonna start to dive into what you guys read. Hi, Nicole. Carly's joined, hello. Okay, so homework was to read the intro and then chapters 1 and 2. So comment below on how far you are in the book. Did you read? If you didn't, we're not gonna call you out, but maybe you're like 5 chapters ahead. So just let me know how far you are in the book. Also, if you guys can hear me clicking on my computer and it's really annoying, just say so. Hi, Jennifer. Nicole read this to start chapter 3. Okay, cool. Wendy, see, Wendy's ahead. She's on chapter 12. Jennifer, page 21, which is where we are current. Cool. So it looks like some people are pacing themselves, and it's a kind of a page turner too, so I don't blame you if you're ahead. Page 21, finished up to the end of chapter 2, read it. Okay, cool. Chapters 1 and 2, going into chapter 3. Okay, cool. So we're pretty much all on the same page. Alex, with you at chapter 2. Jennifer, but this is my second time reading it. Yeah, me too. So that first reading this week was pretty easy to skim through. I kind of remembered it. Chapters 1 and 2. Cool. Okay, so also let me know if you there was one exercise. So I noticed, I looked at our reading for next week and there's more exercises than this week, but this week it was just one exercise that I actually asked you guys about a few days ago as well, which was the happiness quiz. So comment below if you did the happiness quiz, and we'll discuss that shortly. Comment if you completed it. Okay. And keep saying hi if you're just joining. Now we're up to 11. Awesome. Awesome, ladies. Cool. Okay, so as I mentioned, am going to ask you lots of questions tonight because I know that you can only see my face, but there are going to be a lot of us here, so I want you guys to feel like you're having a discussion and I'm not just talking at you, okay? I'm going to add some of my story and my thoughts, but I really want you guys to participate as well. So, like I said, get ready to type as fast as you can. But also, if you feel comfortable, send me a picture. Take a selfie, unashamed selfie, wherever you are, And especially if you're wearing a hat like me, I'm definitely wearing my hat because I didn't wash my hair today. And post your selfie and let us know where you are as you're joining into us, or maybe comment with your location or something along those lines, so we can all feel like at least we're having like a book club at a local coffee shop or something, or having tea or in my living room. So post your selfie and then get ready. All right, so like I said, this is going to be interactive. Kathy did the quiz, Stephanie did the quiz, awesome. Shandy did the quiz. I have to keep remembering to look at the Facebook group too. Completed. Awesome. Oh, that's organic coffee, Christine, yes. I actually mostly do a faux coffee. I do like a faux latte that is with dandelion root tea that I just prefer. Couple chapters ahead. No photos today, still sick. I know. Like I said, put my hat on because I wasn't gonna let you guys see the grease ball of my head. Finished the happiness quiz, says Alex, 3 out of 5, which is a huge improvement from last January when I read this the first time. Awesome, girl. You've been working on your healing, I know. Okay. Coming back to questions. Okay. Also, ask me questions. So if there's a question that you want me to ask the group, or if you just want to ask me, also comment that, all right? So let me know, like, if there's something that really came up strong for you while you were reading that you'd like to ask other people about. Like, I'm happy to read your questions to everyone. So just clarify whether you're asking me or you're asking the group. No photo due to no shirt, Shanty. That's hilarious. But I'm sorry you're in pain. My mom works at a chiropractor's office in Michigan, and she ordered me a TENS machine, so like, you know, like the electrical stimulation. So excited. So then I can just like, it's like a little pack you can put on I usually put it on my back and my shoulders and my neck, and I can just wear it. I haven't got it yet though. I'm like dying for it. We are hosting one of my daughter's 8-year-old friends. Are they listening too, Christine? Are they joining in today? I hope so. Okay. Nicole, those are so great. Yeah, girl. Like, it doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't necessarily get to the root of what's causing pain, but it provides sweet, sweet relief. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you know I also got stim on my face, on my jaw this week, which was super weird. It makes you go... So I'm sitting in the lobby of the dentist, and like people are coming in and out, and I'm just going... It was really special. Group. Oh, okay. Lindsay, I'm gonna write this down. Attract more suffering. Cool. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so keep asking questions, and I'm going to try to jot down. TENS units are the bomb. OMG. Yes. Lindsay. Oh, so you guys are already answering each other's questions too. That's perfect. Lindsay's wondering about how grief would attract more suffering, and Christine's answering actually the opposite. Bracing, feeling the grief makes it easier to get through. Yeah, I keep going back to this quote in my mind all over and over again from Diego Perez or Young Pablo on Instagram, which is letting go of the energy of the past as we move into the present. Yeah, tips on how to embrace this more. Let's talk about it, okay? I wrote your note down. Okay, so in the introduction, Jessica, the author obviously, Jessica Flanagan, asked some really great questions, and I like to discuss that to start, just so if you guys have your book, that's awesome. I'm just going to kind of go through it sequentially as we have our discussion. If you don't, that's okay too. So first, comment below on what is your relationship to your illness? What is your relationship to your illness? Okay, let me know. I just took the cutest selfie from the feminist propaganda. I'm cross-stitching while I listen, and then now I can't upload. Whatevs. All right, post it later then, okay? Especially if it's cute. I actually watched a video one time on how to take selfies. Unashamed. I shared it with my best friend. Okay, so what is your relationship to your illness? Comment about it. And, it's going to take you a second to write down. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my relationship to my illness. So as I have explained to you guys, some of you know my story through and through. Other of you are just getting to know me. But I have celiac disease, and I also struggle with fibromyalgia, and then I have inflammatory markers for lupus and RA, rheumatoid arthritis. And so I'm just on that healing path to try to not develop more than one autoimmune disease, because fibro is not classified in AARDA, the autoimmune classifications, but it is definitely, it kind of runs in line with autoimmune disease if you guys have it as well. So anyways, my relationship to my illness is one kind of peace and chaos, okay? And I've done some major mindset shifting, but I'm still far from perfect, and still do have coffee sometimes, even though I love my faux latte, but don't see that as being the worst thing in the world. So anyways, I'm still far from perfect, and my relationship with my illness is one of deep gratitude and respect, because of everything I've learned in this community that I've been introduced to is like amazing and so powerful. But there's still times when I get jealous and like a little FOMO of my friends and peers that are staying out late and dancing, and they wake up and feel totally fine in the morning, right? And so part of me like finds that jealousy, and then other parts of me, and what I listen to much more on a regular basis, is just this deep honoring of my body. And so now that I do honor my body in such a deeper level and deeper way, I feel so much better. So yeah, I still get like jealous sometimes, but I think that there's, of like quote normal people, and but on a deeper level, I am so much more grateful than I ever before. So there's been this deep lesson in the healing process, which I think is a lot what Jessica writes about. And I did not love myself. And now I can confidently say I love myself. And that's really hard. It doesn't come easily, and it seems easy, and it's just like, well, just freaking love yourself, right? Like, okay, go do it. But it takes like deep inner work in my experience. And this process of healing has also then presented this pathway towards self-love as well, which has been really powerful. So I'm going to read some of your comments here. What is your relationship to your disease? Adversarial relationship with it. Jessica's concept of loving your illness is definitely something I'm curious to learn more about. I'm working on loving my body rather than, than fighting with my body. But the concept of loving my illness is difficult to get behind at first glance, so to speak. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't come easily. It takes like this, it becomes a ritual, in my opinion. It becomes a ritual of honoring your body every single day and waking up every single day and deciding to change your mindset. Oh my goodness, you guys are writing so much. I can't read all of them. I'm going to read what everyone's I see first. Wendy's in a great place today. First time in about 2.5 to 3 years. This book is helping. I wrote my food journal this morning. She wrote, I'm authentically happy for the first time in 5 years. Hell yeah. That's so awesome. It's been such a long struggle. Felt like giving up 1 year ago. So I'm really grateful for this change in me. Awesome. Alex says, my relationship to my illness, diagnosed with fibro, though I'm not convinced this is a correct diagnosis, and I'm looking forward to working with a functional doctor soon, is variable. But most days I'm in a really good place. I'm in a place where I no longer grieve or get angry. That takes work. But I can still get overwhelmed and anxious by having no control over the debilitating fatigue. Like, dude, I want to be having sex like I used to. Not fair. And these are real problems. I can pin comments. I didn't even know this. Sue says, I'm okay with accepting my illness, but my mind won't let me break through and truly accepting it, finding myself looking to place blame. But why am I doing this? Yeah, there's this crazy internal talk that starts to happen too. Also, Alex, not to get too personal, but we're just going to talk about sex for a second. Pain or loss of libido or sex drive? I'm curious. Christine says, I felt that anger well into my 30s. Once I hit my 40s, I decided to be nice to myself. Sometimes it doesn't mean doing things even if I don't feel like it. Sometimes it means staying in bed, electric blanket on, Netflix on the laptop. That's what I'm talking about, because I have like this serious FOMO of all my friends. I love dancing, and I'm not a good dancer, but I love dancing and going out and having a good time. And so I get like this jealousy of not choosing to do that, because I could still do that, but I'm choosing not to because I know my body is not going to feel good, and then it's probably not going to be worth it. But that has been a struggle for me too, of feeling like I'm missing out. Typo, sometimes it does mean doing things. Pardee says, it has been a struggle, but I'm taking it one day at a time, trying to find ways to cope and heal. Yes, totally. One day at a time is my mantra most days. Okay. Can we talk about loss of libido? What helps this need help here? For me, no sex due to fatigue. My husband dislikes my MS. Wait, explain. Please explain. And Jennifer, to answer your question, yes, let's talk about that. Alex says, she's answering my question. Luckily, it's not painful until afterwards, but I lose energy for multiple days afterwards. On top of that, though, I almost have no libido. I'm hoping that will heal with diet. You've changed your diet a lot, though. I know Alex like a little bit more than some of you, than I know some of you, compared to some of you, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But you've done a lot of healing through your diet. You were on AIP, right? That didn't help at all? Tell me. And also, Jennifer's question, if anyone can comment in what helps with loss of libido, I would also love to know. And does anyone else relate? Because if that's a thing, if we all feel that way, then we should definitely talk about it. Okay, I have more questions for you guys though. So that question was, what's your relationship with your illness? And next question is, who here feels like they are in victim mode? That like, poor me, life sucks, why is this happening to me kind of internal talk in your mind, versus who here is in that fighting their disease, warrior mode, I won't back down, I will overcome this, I will get over this, I will fight this until the death, versus who is following a little bit more of what Jessica preaches, which is finding that love and compassion for your illness. So there's three options there, right? Are you in the victim poor me mode? Are you in the fighting warrior mode? Or are you in, I don't want to say acceptance, but this loving and compassion mode? So let me know. Christine, let me know. Only when I want to eat fast food and not cook. I don't know what you were commenting to because the comments disappear so fast. Lindsay, answering the question I just asked, says, each day I feel all three I feel. I know my disease is part of my journey and has helped me to follow my passion about wellness and holistic healing. So it sounds like, Jennifer, you're a little bit more on number 3. Christine says, I do feel like a victim rather than a warrior. We have children in our family with special needs, learning differences, so I just feel most days I struggle to take care of me, and I have a lot of responsibility for my vulnerable kiddos. Wendy, victim 3 or 4 years ago. Mindset really held her back. Sue is in warrior mode, looking for the next diet or supplement to help. Alex says, I love that when I'm faithful to AIP, but I haven't kept with it for more than 3 weeks straight, loving myself through that piece of my journey right now. So I guess that's, to answer your question, I'm being compassionate. More on number 3. Stephanie, somewhere between acceptance and fighting. Purdy says a mix. So yeah, my answer to you guys is going to be, I hop back and forth between all 3 of those two. Between not so much of an aggressive warrior mode, but more of like a, I'm going to find a solution warrior mode. Which one of you guys commented similar there? And then this, I think that the FOMO, missing out on things, is when I jump into the victim mode, like, oh, this sucks kind of thing. Like, I wish I could do this and that, or I wish I had more energy. And then number 3 has really started to become my go-to mindset, which is, I think, the healthier mindset of compassion and love. And what is this illness here to teach me? That's something that, after kind of forcing myself to make that my question, now is naturally my question. What is the universe trying to tell me? What is this illness here to teach me? But not even just illness. What is this hard situation here to teach me? I struggle with a lot of family stuff, and it doesn't have to do with my autoimmune disease per se, but I use that same mentality when something comes up in that situation too. It's like, okay, what is this here to teach me? What is this resentment or this anger or this frustration or this hard situation here to teach me? Shandy says, always feel like the victim. No one else in my large family has MS. It picked me. Yeah, so feeling like, you said it right there, it picked me. That's definitely more of it's not always poor me mode, like feel sorry for me, but it's hard. What you're going through is hard. And so feeling like the victim, I think, is a go-to mentality for a lot of us. Sarah says, I feel like this book may help me move to more loving mode along with yoga and meditation, but I do feel like I want to be more in control of my health, so probably am more warrior mode. I hate the oh poor me feelings, so I feel like I also go into, quote, ignore mode or cover it mode. Yeah, it's like, why do I feel sorry for myself? And then you feel silly for feeling sorry for yourself, and then you kick yourself out of it, and then you go into, I'm gonna fight this mode. And I just did a meditation an hour ago in my Facebook group, and we talked about how warrior mode doesn't serve you. That warrior mode triggers the fight or flight response in your body, and regardless of whether you can feel that response, where like your heart starts to race, you start to sweat kind of thing, versus this constant low grade state of stress or fight or flight mode, that wreaks a lot of havoc on your health, and as many of you probably know, can lead to adrenal fatigue and burnout. And so letting our mind get out of that fight or flight and into what I talk to my clients about, rest and digest mode, but also you could say is that love and compassion mode, is really important, especially for your gut health. Carly says she's in the same boat as Stephanie, between acceptance and warrior. I feel sorry for myself the more I miss out and feel disconnected from the people that are important to me. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, Carly, where it's like, I don't go to as many social gatherings anymore, and so part of that's been beautiful because I've connected with other women like you guys that are, either we can chat like this, or are more willing to come over and like do something along the guidelines of, I'm going to still feel awesome in the morning versus I'm going to feel horrible in the morning. Side note, thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. It's a small thing that always makes me happy. Good. Nicole says, I feel like only my boyfriend, mom, and brother understand. My friends don't, and it hurts so bad. Looking to have this book help my mindset. Yeah, and that's, Nicole, that's a little bit about, like, piece behind Autoimmune Tribe is that people, it's hard for them to understand. If you find, like, someone who's very compassionate, or an empath, they're more likely to relate to you, or at least be able to take on those emotions and kind of understand how you're feeling. But not everyone is, and I think that's part of what this tribe and this community is about too, is finding people who can relate and like can also laugh about stuff and be like, yep, that SIBO, man, like, it's not fun. Stephanie says FOMO struggle is absolutely real. Yeah. So finding, like, it changes your priorities, right? Because you can't necessarily relate to the same people anymore, so you find your new tribe and your new community, and whether that's locally, like just reaching out to people who you meet at the yoga studio, and might be more along the same path as you, or you meet them at a meditation class, or there's tons of AIP groups locally too. Like I know there's one for Fort Collins around me and one for Denver as well. And so like there's these AIP groups too. Okay, Alex says, I know I'm in the same place of how can I heal this? How can I get better? How can I improve my health so I can get back to normal? I'm starting to feel that. Though I don't want to accept this state of life, it may be a good thing to ask if this is an adaptation of warrior mode. I keep reaching for perfection. Is that what my illness is here to teach me? So that's super interesting in that. Put in an emoji in the comments if you label yourself as type A or perfectionist. I'm really interested. I do, personally. I've always been that way. And I found a more gentle version of me through my healing process, but definitely had to let go of my perfectionistic tendencies. Stephanie, emoji, working on that. Lindsay, yeah, progress, not perfection. That, to me, the dropping the perfection also came through the journey to self-love. So through self-love, I was able to accept myself as my imperfectly perfect soul, being, human, woman, and let go of some of the wanting to feel perfect. Wendy says, that's how I got into this mess. I'm a recovering perfectionist. Jennifer, totally Wendy. Shandy, my husband has a chronic illness, hepatitis of the liver. I never understood his struggle fully until my journey started with MS. Yeah, so it's hard for people to relate, right? And it's hard to find those people that you click with and that you can connect with. Christine says, no, not type A, type B all the way, which is why I can't wait to be motivated, because motivation isn't something I normally feel. So yeah, that's super interesting too. I think my sister falls into that mode actually, where she has this kind of like lack of motivation, and we're like super similar, but that's like our big difference, is she doesn't know where to start, so she doesn't start, whereas I have 5 ideas on how to start, so I start them all. Because I'm trying to be perfect at all of them, and then I realize that that's also not the right answer. Okay, I got a little sidetracked. Okay, so we were talking about who's type A, because that's my poll to you guys. Who's in warrior mode, who loves their illness, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, hopping back between poor me, warrior, and self-love. And I think most of us can sort of agree that we kind of dabble between 2 or 3 of those. Okay, so I wrote, you can't change your illness, but you can change your relationship to your illness. Oh, so that was a quote from the book and a message that reverberates throughout the entire book, right? So we aren't trying to fix ourselves, right? Because there's nothing to be fixed, but we're trying to change our relationship to our illness. And I think that's also really important to understand, is that you aren't broken, right? This illness is here to like send you this message and to help you grow and expand in some way, but you're not broken, and you never were broken. Type B definitely needed more motivation. So we actually have a mix of kind of the A and B. Okay, so that message of changing relationship to illness. So who feels like they're starting to kind of accept this new mindset? So we just talked about, are you in which of these 3 kind of relationships with your disease or illness, or just symptoms? Not everyone's been diagnosed here. And so who is starting to kind of accept that number 3 of the mindset Jessica suggests, versus the first 2 we talked about? And how do you feel about it, right? Who finds that to be very challenging and very hard, versus who feels like that's something that's kind of naturally coming on to them as like, oh. For me, when I read the book the first time, it was almost a relief. It was like this big sigh of like, like, I don't have to carry this weight anymore. I don't have to fix myself because I'm not broken. Instead, I can love myself and love my illness and allow myself to open up to possibility and healing versus trying to fight it. So let me know how easy or hard that kind of mindset shift is for you. Nicole says, I'm excited, but I know it's going to be a challenge. Christine, best thing about my illness is I eat organic right now. I'm more aware of what foods make me feel like crap and which ones don't. So yeah, that's totally one piece of information that you are learning and that you are improving the health of your body through illness. And I think about that sometimes too, because most of the people that I am around, most of them are celiac actually, or at least have a gluten sensitivity or allergy. I don't know why, we just attract each other. But here and there, I'll be in other social settings when people have no awareness of food. None. They don't, how do I say this? Like, carbs are only pasta, or pop is like still a part of their daily lives. And there's not judgment around that, but through my journey and my healing process, my awareness and knowledge of food is so much deeper and greater, and I'm grateful for that. And I look at things with I look at it and I ask myself, is this healing me or is this nourishing my body? And if it's not, then why am I eating it? Why am I drinking it? And like, I make gluten-free cookies sometimes and I treat myself, but on a day-to-day basis, it's like, is this nourishing me? And it's a whole new relationship that I have with food based on the past. When I was vegetarian for 6 years, so gluten was like my staple, and that is not the case anymore. Shandy, I am just trying to love myself. Yes. Stephanie says, I am open to it, but I will definitely need to practice in order to truly embrace it. And these ladies are answering my question about, is this hard to make this mindset shift? How open to it are you? Lindsay says, getting there, trying to grow in self-love and compassion, and seeing what I can learn from all of this. Just having a hard time focusing on what can be gained from all of this instead of what I'm losing in terms of how my life used to be. Yeah, that's when our mind goes back to poor me victim mode of, I can't have this and I can't have that, and like, God damn it, I miss ice cream. And to me, I think that part of getting through that process was, number one, reintroducing foods after eliminating them and being like, not worth it. Like diarrhea, brain fog, panic attacks, not worth it. And letting that choice be a little bit easier, but also a decision deep within my soul that I am going to make choices because I love myself so much. I am no longer going to kind of feed into small cravings or whatever in my body, and that I am going to make decisions with food specifically that are healing and loving to myself, which I guess goes well with the loving diet. But changing that relationship to food has been a huge kind of eye-opening and enlightenment part of the healing process. Alex says, it's a daily struggle. I remind myself constantly that I'm a freaking princess. Well, yeah, hashtag AIP princess over there. And I'm not broken, and my life is a gift, and it's okay to feel things. The more you practice, the easier it gets. That's really true, too. The more you practice, the easier it gets. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Make that your mantra. Wendy, I miss chocolate. Yeah. I eat dark chocolate, personally, but like on a minimal basis. Jennifer, this is where I struggle the most after 2 years attempting AIP. Yeah, it's like this missing piece, right? And a lot of it is self-love. It's this, how do I love myself? Because as I mentioned earlier, it's like, yeah, I want to love myself. I want to love myself. I've made this decision. I've committed to, I want to love myself. Now, how do I love myself? And that gets a little more complicated, and I think everyone goes through that journey in a little bit of a different way of trying to find self-love. For me, one of the things I did was I took a sticky note, like sticky pads right here. I just wrote a sticky note, and what was it? I changed it like every week, but like I'd write, "You are beautiful," right? And then I would just take that sticky note, "You are beautiful," and I would stick it on my mirror in my bathroom, because that's, for me, that was like my place of most self-hate. It's like this place of judging myself, and that's when a lot of the negative self-talk started to creep in. So like you could like scatter your whole mirror with sticky notes if one is not enough, but that's one thing that helped me. Sarah, will this book go more into AIP? My doctor has never put me on any specific diets, but I found more and more things on my own that don't benefit me. Yeah, so she does. The second half, or I don't even know if it's half, it might be a little less than half of the book is all about food. And she provides a modified version of AIP in the back. So we'll get to that for sure. Yeah, Lindsay's answering too, kind of at the end. There is stuff on the author's website as well. Yeah, she also has a ton of recipes. I made her pumpkin bars recently. They're really good. And there's tons of AIP recipes now. Whereas there maybe used to be a shortage, there's no shortage anymore. Although people keep getting more creative with their recipes. Sue says, it's a daily struggle for me too, constantly working to keep myself in a positive mindset. I need to write down the affirmations from this book and read them daily. Yes. We're all committing, on my notes I wrote, we're all at the end, we're like taking an oath together, and we are committing to one of the affirmations and holding ourselves accountable, but also holding each other, this community accountable. Okay, so starting to talk about who's accepting this mindset that Jessica is presenting, who finds it hard. I'm also curious, who feels like they're at rock bottom right now? Like, and no shame in that. I think it's a very vulnerable thing to admit, and kind of a sacred thing at the same time. So who feels like maybe they found this group or this book or whatever at divine timing, right? Like, who feels like they are stuck in a hole and they don't know how to get out? I'm curious. And we will send you all of the love. Yes, girl. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a second to answer that. And then I'm also curious, this sort of relates, so who feels like you are in this hole that you can't get out? And who has tried AIP? So I'm just curious in this group. And a lot of you mentioned in your introduction with your picture and letting us know who you were 2 or 3 weeks ago. But remind us, who has gone AIP? And you don't have to write a novel about it, but just like some comments on good, bad, neutral, no change. Was it healing? Was it not? Do you feel better but not 100% better? Do you feel no better? Did you lose 10 pounds and that was awesome, but you don't really feel better? So just let me know who feels like they're really struggling right now, and who feels, who has tried AIP and what was the results of that. Because a lot of the point of her book is, she writes in her tagline, going beyond paleo. She doesn't say autoimmune paleo, but she writes about it in the book. Going beyond paleo into the heart of what ails you. Wendy, I was at rock bottom about 7 weeks ago. Somehow magically I've woken up from this awful years-long nightmare. Wendy, tell us what woke you up. Shandy, I do feel like you're at rock bottom. I left my old job for a new one, lost my insurance until the end of February, can't meet with my doctor. Girl, I don't have health insurance either, so I can relate to you on that one. Nicole says, eating healthy. I'm strict gluten-free and dairy-free. I've tried a few recipes, that's it. I'm assuming you're saying a few recipes from AIP. I'm with ya. Okay, anyone else? AIP, good, bad, neutral. Some people, it takes away all their symptoms. Other people, so I did AIP as well. Sarah says, on my AIP voyage now. I love that verbiage there. Word choice, not verbiage. Voyage. Christine, I went AIP 2 years ago, lost weight. Yeah, that's a lot of people lose weight. Feel great. It's because you take out inflammatory foods. You might not even lose like fat necessarily, you just lose inflammation. Went back to just gluten-free for the holidays and have struggled ever since to get back on the plan, just even for the 30 days. Shandy, healthcare bills are the bane of my existence right now. Yeah, we'll see what happens soon, too. Everything might change. Jennifer, AIP was a huge start. However, I struggled with being strict and have never have been able to add foods back in. That's like Jessica's like niche. But then this year realized I have a bunch more limitations like Jessica discusses. Yeah, like co-infections or oral intolerances. She talks a lot about that too. Wendy, I moved out of my apartment. I think something there was affecting me. I started drinking filtered water in the summer, electrolyte water 2 months ago, eating only real foods for 2 years now, and I moved in with a relative that relieved my stress and money. I'm reading so fast because I only have a little time to read them before they move away and I can't see them again. Christine, I feel like I like it, but I have diverged from the path for date nights, etc. Yeah, like holidays. Have not found a good balance yet. Started out great, then fizzled. Carly, I was at rock bottom a few years ago. I do feel very stuck and disconnected. I don't know how to move forward. This book club idea was perfect timing. Yeah, I love divine timing. Sue, I've been at AIP for 7 months now. It's great for me. I felt the best the first month when I took all the recommended supplements from Dr. Amy Myers, who I also love. I was hoping I wouldn't have to take the supplements forever. Maybe I need to try again for a month. You know, you probably don't need to take the supplements forever. You just didn't give yourself enough time to heal, probably. So you said the first month you were taking the recommended supplements, so that probably, it might not have been long enough. Christine, to the other Christine, yes. I feel like any going off the plan sabotages me, but I feel like I do need to give myself some fun meals, drinks. Maybe I need to change my idea of fun. Yeah, and so like, you know, there's AIP sweets too that you can start to reintroduce, but a lot of it's just giving yourself enough time to heal. So you take things out long enough and you might be able to heal leaky gut, inflammation, in the lining of your gut, because my belief is that all disease begins in the gut, like Hippocrates wrote long, long ago. And so that if we do start with nutrition, that it can create leaps and bounds of growth in our healing process, but it doesn't fix everything, especially as Jessica not necessarily writes in here, but is more in her latest research, is that there's other things that could be going on in your body, and knowing that genetic mapping of your body can become a really big piece of healing. Wendy says to Jennifer, don't give up on foods. Last year I only ate 3 foods all year. Holy crap, what were they? This year I'm eating 8 and finally having success with a new food in the past week, so I only introduce new foods now at once a day. A small freckle size. It's working. Carly started AIP in September. Have hardly seen any change, if any. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Some people like it's amazing. Other people it's not. It's still good to get rid of processed and inflammatory foods from your diet. So it's like, you know, you're doing something that's supposed to be good for you, but if you don't feel the change, it can be hard to really become a believer. I think I'm experiencing too many symptoms still to try and to reintroduce foods yet. Yeah. Or there's something else going on. So you might have eliminated enough foods to figure out food intolerances, but something else could be going on in your body. And a lot of what I do in my work is help women with the mental, emotional shifts that they need to make to help healing too. I think it's going to be hard to start AIP, have no self-control. I know if I see my husband having ice cream that I'm going to get myself some. Yeah. I think I can't relate to having a family to also cook dinner for or eat with and being on AIP, but I do live with my boyfriend and am lucky in that he'll eat whatever I eat. But I have clients who will be sneaky about cooking AIP and then like add extra things into their family's meals if they want, but always making sure that they have something for themselves. Do you think your husband would be up for a challenge? It could be something you guys do together, aka no ice cream. Good luck. Lindsay says she had something similar with her family, but I had a nice sit down with them and asked them for their support, and now they have hid all the trigger foods, mainly sweets, someplace in another cupboard. Honestly, I don't know where it is. That's awesome. That's a really good idea. I had a client one time who she made like kind of like Tupperware, but like little like baskets for herself and then each of her family members. And so they were not clear. They were like they weren't clear. And so she would put all her snacks in that one basket and everyone else's snacks so that she knew they were there, but at least she couldn't see them and they weren't as much of a temptation. Yeah, Jennifer says it's hard with kids and their food around. I can only imagine that. Alex is telling Shandy, freeze coconut milk and ice cubes and then blend with, oh, I lost your comment. It went away. Damn it. Lindsay, first 2 to 3 weeks are the hardest. Now it's getting better. Yes, Shandy says he's sitting with me now. He said sure to a challenge. That's awesome. You go, dude. So yeah, make it a challenge. See what you can do. See, what is the challenge going to be? You can customize it to you, and that way you don't have to watch your very much loved one eating ice cream in front of you. But I also think that it gets easier over time, and that making the decision not to have the food that everyone else is eating around you becomes easier. Not immediately, but it becomes easier because, like I said, you love yourself so much that you're going to make that healing choice for your body. And you're going to honor this healing process and know that you don't want more autoimmune diseases. Like if you have 1 or 2 or 5, like that's enough. And so, you're on this healing path, and, if you really commit to taking this path of self-love and healing seriously, then it does become a little bit easier. Okay. I wrote another quote from Jessica. Illness may be the vehicle for you, the way heartbreak was for her. So this is interesting. She doesn't have autoimmune disease, right? But she's like an autoimmune healer. But her twin sister does, as you guys read through her story. So she says that heartbreak was kind of this vehicle towards healing for her, whereas disease can be the vehicle towards healing for us or anybody. And so I'm curious too, if any of you feel like either my fibromyalgia was a vehicle for me to change my life, or on a more mental, emotional level, my divorce was a vehicle for me changing. My marriage was a vehicle for me changing. The loss of a loved one, a car accident, or, what in your life, if anything, I'm just curious, and share with us. Is there any sort of vehicle you feel like has created a big shift in your life? And maybe there's several. So oftentimes we talk about this perfect storm of when autoimmune disease presents itself, and the fact that you might have these kind of underlying factors and symptoms, and then all of a sudden that perfect storm, that icing on the cake kind of happens, and then it's just like bam, and things go downhill. So I'm curious if anyone feels that way about when they were either diagnosed with autoimmune or they started having their symptoms. Was there anything else in your life that kind of happened? And do you see illness, autoimmune disease, as a vehicle for you to transform? I'm going to give you a second to respond. It's also 5:50, so we've been on for 50 minutes, and I'm hoping we'll be like an hour. We might go a little over. Let me know if you can stay. I'll talk about my vehicle too. So for me, I felt like there was a perfect storm. I felt like there was steps kind of up the ladder towards this big cloudy storm that I was reaching. And like, I didn't ever really go back down. I just kept working my way back up, and towards this dark spot, this dark place in my life. And it started with just digestive symptoms. No diagnosis, digestive symptoms. That's a very young age. Then diagnosed with stomach migraines, moving into fibromyalgia, didn't really do a lot about it, moving into celiac, and then moving into crazy eczema, and then panic attack disorder and crazy anxiety. So it was like these things kind of started to pile on top of each other, if you will. And then it all emotionally started during like emotional, I guess trauma of parental divorce, right? And just being young and feeling like you had to parent. And so moving up, back then into, I was in my early 20s when I was diagnosed with celiac. And so that was my first autoimmune actual diagnosis. But I felt like there were so many things that led up to that moment. And then, as I've shared with many of you before too, I only had treated myself on this very external level up until like 2 years ago. So I had my symptoms under control in that I was eating well and I had figured out my food allergies and really shifted my life and some of my mindset. But then I found that there was more, and it was all mental emotional for me because I had, like I said, addressed the food stuff, and then I hadn't fully loved myself. And when my brother passed away, like my whole world catapulted so drastically that I was forced to then work on the mental emotional stuff. That was what I really needed. Christine says, when I was at my acupuncture appointment, I realized I couldn't clasp my hands together over my belly even though I was gluten-free and walked a lot. That started my journey of learning cross-reactive foods to AIP. Yeah, so that you remember that moment, right? And Shandy says, before I was diagnosed, I was having numbness in my arms and face, but seemed to match up to the times when I was parenting my stepdad during alcoholism. Yeah, that's trauma. And your body, and especially your subconscious, they hang on to that stuff. That's, you guys, half of you maybe know that I love tapping to get rid of some of those unprocessed emotions and experiences. Alex, oh dear, I had a perfect storm. I had a 2-month-long breakdown over 2 sexual assaults that I experienced in college. Then I had a breakdown about how that breakdown was affecting my current relationship. I was working out twice a day, restricting to 1,200 calories a day. I was stressing out at my new job. I went for a 5K and never recovered. My body just said, hell no, girl, you need to literally sit down and deal with this shit. What's that thing, what did they say? Break down to find a breakthrough. That kind of sounds like you, girl. Break down, break down, break down. Now your body is saying, you have no choice but to listen to me and to heal me. Okay, let me know anyone else who has a perfect storm. And then let's move on to happiness quiz 2. Okay, so there's so much to talk about, you guys. Okay, happiness quiz was in the intro. And I know I already asked you guys about this, and I had you write down how many yeses and how many nos you had. And she writes, if you answered no to 3 or more of these questions, you may need to look a little deeper into your happiness level. And so the questions were, do you wake up interested in your life? Yes or no. Do you regularly have time for yourself each week? Yes or no. When you are by yourself, do you feel happy? Yes or no. Do you depend on yourself for happiness as opposed to your closest relationships? Yes or no. Are you able to avoid eating to make yourself feel better? Yes or no. So looking back on that in the group, I'm just going to pull up that feed for a second. 4 yes, 1 no, 2 no's, 4 yes, 3 yes, 2 yes, 3 yes, 4 yes. Okay. So it sounds like people are kind of in the middle. No one said 5 for no's or yeses, which is interesting. If you didn't comment on that feed, comment on this feed if you guys want. and let me know where you feel, because I think it would also be interested to see what other women here are feeling as far as depression around disease, or that poor me mindset, or feeling like there's a way out of the hole, like a hand that is going to support you and lift you out. She says, you can trust what's coming forward. You won't be in this place forever. The unhappiness can motivate you to find something more. That's wisdom. So it's kind of flipping it on its head, right? Saying that like our unhappiness can actually propel us into happiness and strength and movement forward. Alex, yes! Figured it out. Oh yeah, you're wearing your glasses. What are those called again? They're like, what are they called? They're not UV. Amber glasses. Yes, amber glasses. I don't have a pair yet. I see them on Instagram all the time. I think I probably should get some. 3 yes, 2 no from Shandy. Okay. So let me know about that too. How did you score on happiness quiz? Is that something that you're really concerned about? Do you feel like that happiness, the unhappiness is keeping you there? Or like she kind of flips it, is it then starting to be that hand that's kind of lifting you out, being like, I don't want to feel this way anymore, and because of my unhappiness, I want to find a solution, and I want to find a resolution, and I want to move forward in my life. Sue says, yes, my illness was a perfect storm, super stressed about work for 2 years, and then my son was diagnosed with high-functioning autism. It all made me slow down and handle the only important things in life. Jennifer has to leave. See you, girl. Thanks for joining. We're going to wrap up soon. Okay. Anything else about the happiness quiz? Anything that came up for you guys? Let me know. And then we've only gotten through the introduction, but actually chapter 1 and 2 is fairly quick to discuss. So first, a lot of chapter 1 is like, what is autoimmune disease? And I'm not going to go into that because it's in the book. But chapter 2 is a little bit more too about, or maybe I got that wrong. The beginning of chapter 2 is what is autoimmune disease, but then it talks a little bit more about building your healthcare team. And also that when you do have one autoimmune disease, that you're more likely to develop another, which I mentioned a little bit before. And I think that can serve as motivation to all of us too, to start to not like be the warrior who's going to take control of my health, but the strong, powerful soul that is going to like send so much love and compassion to this experience and situation in life that you know you can get through anything. So first question, I'm curious, how many autoimmune diseases do you have, or are you still working on figuring out what you have? Because a lot of people are just get misdiagnosed, undiagnosed, and like don't know what's going on with their body. And then speaking a little bit about finding your healthcare team. So who loves their healthcare team? And who hates their healthcare team? And tell me a little bit more about that. What type of practitioners do you work with? So I forget which, she mentions like several types of practitioners, and I'd be interested to see what your healthcare team is, because maybe it's just your primary care doctors. Maybe it's just your primary care doctor. Maybe it's you see a functional medicine doctor or a naturopath, or maybe you have a therapist and also your primary care, or you bring your yoga teacher into that, or you have a meditation teacher, or you sign up for all my trainings, or you have a health coach, or maybe like an energy healer, or a medium, clairvoyant, psychic, Reiki healing. What does your healthcare team look like? Would you change anything, or do you like it the way it is? Shandy says she has one autoimmune disease, never knew it could lead to more until this book. Yeah, that's something I try to kind of put out into the world a lot too, because don't quote me on this, I think you're 3 times more likely to develop an autoimmune disease or an additional one once you have one versus if you don't have one. Nicole has 2, being tested for a 3rd right now. I'm so about my healthcare team. My original rheumatologist is retiring and I cried so much. Haha. Yeah, because when you do connect and you trust someone, I think that makes all of the difference. Also, it's really interesting, she writes about this, that, I forget how she words it, I think I put it in my notes. How to manage your doctor. Was that like total flip of mindset for anybody else here? How to manage your doctor. Because first of all, when I was going through fibromyalgia stuff, I was like 15. So I was a child and I didn't know that I could stand up for myself, number 1. Number 2, doctors, I think, are in society kind of, looked up to as being experts and knowing more than you, right? But you know more about how you feel than anybody else in this world. And for me, that was such a flip on its head of being like, okay, I get to manage this doctor in my healthcare versus just listening and going with whatever they had to say because they're the experts, so they must be right. Because now, having, gone through 17 doctors by the time I was 17 and listening to whatever they said and taking that as truth, to now knowing that I'm empowered as a patient or client to ask questions and seek truth and understand my care better, that was a huge shift for me and really empowering as the patient or the client to know that, number 1, I have options. Number 2, I get to choose my healthcare team. Number 3, I can manage my doctor. So interested to see what you guys think about that. So Shandy has a love-hate relationship. She has a neurologist and his practitioner. Oh, I lost it. And I think you said you had a massage therapist you love. Your comment went down too low. Christine diagnosed with fibro. Doctor prescribed ibuprofen. I did that for weeks but stopped because I knew I couldn't do it for life. I did that too. A lot of ibuprofen, and I think it probably messed up my liver a little bit. I haven't been to a doctor for it since, so I'm at a loss on where to go, what to do, etc. My fibro got a lot better when I changed my diet and when I started moving my body in ways that I didn't necessarily want to move, but when I started moving it, it was really happy. Sue, good night. Had to put son to bed. You take note of the time and you can catch back up on where we left off. Wendy has 1 autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis. I love my 1 current health team, which is a functional nutritionist. Going to try a recommended naturopath soon. Awesome. Alex is still in the diagnosing period, but present with autoimmune disease symptoms, hoping I'm in stage 2 and can escape diagnosis. Yeah, so she also talks about 3 stages. That'd be interesting to know whether you guys were diagnosed in stage 1, 2, or 3. I'm saving up to see a functional doctor right now, and my healthcare team is a kind of non-existent besides my Reiki practitioner and my soul sisters. That's why there's so many communities, right? And I'm not saying that this is any better than any other, but just the sense of community that you can find one that you relate to can be so healing. And I think we can learn so much from each other, even though our bodies are so different from each other. Like, you are going through something completely different than I'm going through, but we can still support each other, relate in some ways, and give suggestions. Sorry guys, my throat's getting dry. Stephanie says, at some point I realized that the only person who was going to advocate for me is me. And so I started questioning and even challenging physicians. Yeah, I have a girlfriend in that position right now. I don't think she's on. She knows who she is. If she's here, she would have said hi. She is definitely questioning her practitioners. One of her practitioners kind of has given up on her and is like, I've done what I can do. Like, basically, like, stop being crazy. And she's like, no, like I have serious symptoms still. I do not feel healthy. And like she wants to be able to heal, and she's desperate to heal. And like you said, no one's going to advocate for you except for you. And so that's actually empowering, I think, knowing that you are allowed to take control of that situation with your doctor. Because there's brilliant doctors out there, you guys. I'm not saying that all doctors are bad. There's very brilliant minds that are much smarter than me. But like I said, you only know your body. You know your body better than anybody else. And so I think you have to honor that too and listen to your intuition. What type of movement did you do for your fibro? Yoga. Yeah, mostly yoga. And I would transition or kind of rotate the type of yoga I was doing between like yin postures, longer holds, versus like a more breath to movement flow of vinyasa practice. And I think that I had a woman in class yesterday, and she has a metal rod in her back from scoliosis back surgery. And sometimes it kind of feels worse before it gets better because you're moving your muscles maybe in ways you haven't in a really long time or even ever. And so you're like, oh, I like this is making it worse. But I would just give it enough time to kind of see if you get over that hurdle into then, wow, my body is opening up in ways I never realized. Or I didn't even know I was as tight. Yeah, moving my body was a big one. Changing diet and inflammatory foods is a big one. You guys, this is funny, you guys. I used to wear like a 7.5 shoe, which I think is like pretty average. I'm 5'5", and I wore like a 7.5 most of my life at like, you know, after puberty, after I stopped growing. And I wear a 6 now. And like I can't even fit into like a 6.5 usually. Like I wear a 6. My feet shrunk so much when I got rid of inflammation in my body, and it's like hilarious. I have like some high heels that I don't really wear anyways, but like I'll put them on and my heel just like flies out of them because my feet have shrunk so much from reducing inflammation. Shandy wasn't diagnosed until stage, I think, 3. I lost vision in my left eye due to optic neurotitis. I'm not sure. My MRI showed tons of lesions, so I didn't need a spinal tap. That was a positive. Yeah, the earlier you guys can catch this, the better. But the problem is it's so hard to catch. And the symptoms of autoimmune disease could be like many autoimmune disease. Shandy, I had major, that was my markers for lupus and RA are all in my eye because I had extremely blurred vision. I couldn't see out of my left eye for months. I could see out of my left eye, just not clearly. Yeah, and we don't even think about eye issues as being related to like food or gut issues or allergies or autoimmune disease. So that makes it more difficult to kind of put the whole story together, which in my opinion is why when you find a healthcare team that asks you all of those questions, that you're in the right place. Rebecca says, I wore a 7.5 as well before, and now wear a 7 or 6.5 now too. Too funny. I know, right? I had to buy new shoes. Yeah, and like my tennis shoes, like literally just like I would try to like run or walk, and like they would just like fall off my feet. I'm like, this. I guess I get to buy new shoes. Okay. All right, so we've been here for an hour and 10 minutes. I don't want to take up all of your Sunday nights, but there's like so much more I could totally talk to you guys about. I love you all. So first of all, are there any questions? Because I want to answer any if you do have them. And then while you guys are asking any questions you do have before we end, I just wanted to go over what we're doing next. So chapters 3 and 4 are next, and that's, I wrote down 17 pages to read. And I'm also curious, like, how's that going for everybody? Like, does 17 sound pretty good? I read that, you know, do you read just a couple pages before bed at night? Or are you, like, really itching to go faster? I'm going to say, based on how much we can talk about intro, chapters 1 and 2, this is probably a good pace to at least discuss the book, even if you skip ahead on your reading. So 17 pages, chapters 3 and 4, and then we'll talk again next Sunday, and I'll post in the group between now and then with some other prompts for you. And then, okay, I want to see if you have any questions. I also want to throw a question. Alex, At the end of this, can we all get together and do a spa vacation because I want to hug literally every person here? Yeah. Will you guys come to the mountains with me? Come visit me. We could do a retreat up in the mountains. I actually know a woman who's buying space up there for yoga retreats, but like any retreat. Should we do an autoimmune retreat? I'm so doing it. Alex, this was your idea. You get all the credit. Shandy says she was sick this week, so pace worked well. Nicole, yes, spa. We could all use more spa days. Yeah, girls. I could get a facial every day and I'd be happy. Not that I can afford that. I'm not kidding. No, I'm serious too. We're doing this. I think it's going to take us 2 months to get through the book. It'll be warmer then too. Autoimmune treat, yes, haha, fun. And after I get a job to pay for it, I know, I feel like you, girl. Let's find a cheap place to go that will also give us all the spa treatments. Christine. Oh gosh, I don't know if I really like mountains, said no one ever. True, right? I just moved out here, so I'm obsessed with them because I'm not used to being around like the just like majesticness of them. I'm obsessed. Okay. I'm a Midwest girl, so I'm used to pretty flat. Lots of lakes, but pretty flat. All right, ladies. One announcement. If you aren't in my Autoimmune Tribe Facebook group, different from this group, I hosted a meditation tonight that I think will resonate with you guys, and it was about getting out of the fight mode in our body and starting to release that and become kind of filled with light and love. So related a little bit to the book. So you can go in there and listen to it if you want. You just have to ask to join. I'll approve you all. And it'll stay there as a recording forever, so you can always search it too. And then I just wanted to all of us take an oath of commitment today, okay, as we end. Take this oath of commitment to yourself, but also to us so we can help you stay accountable. And it's part of, I don't think it's officially an affirmation in her book, but it's something I pulled from The Loving Diet. And the oath or the affirmation or commitment is, I choose to make my illness an ally rather than an obstacle. I choose to listen to my own inner healer. Okay, I can probably comment that in the Shandy's husband's coming. Yeah, my boyfriends would definitely try to come too. I'm gonna just comment what I just read out loud to you guys and like copy and paste it or write it in your own words or comment on that comment and be like, yes, I'm in, I commit, I take the oath, give me hearts, whatever, and let me know that you are committing to, I choose to make my illness an ally rather than an obstacle. I choose to listen to my own inner healer. Yeah, or like it. Thanks, parties. Oath made. Hell yeah, girl. Let me know you are committed, you are in, we're healing together, and now we're all gonna go on a retreat. And I want to say drink wine, but we're not gonna drink wine. I'm in, says Nicole. Yes to this oath. Yes. Cool. Okay, so commit. You are here. Show up every Sunday, and if you can't for some reason, you're out of town and doing something fun and amazing, listen to the recording and still comment. Still let me know that you were here. Still let me know that you listened and answer the questions and be interactive. And I think we'll all get to know and love each other even more. Kombucha and wine glasses. Yes. Alex is a genius. Wendy, thanks, Sarah. Good night. Yes. Okay, we're finishing. And if you guys have any feedback, just let me know what we can do better or if this was good for you. And then also, I forgot to say this, I've had several of you reach out who are interested in hosting discussions as well. And I think we'll almost make it like an interview. Like if you were to be on a podcast with somebody. So I was like your host and that was the guest speaker for the podcast. I think that's kind of what we're going to do. So give me feedback on that. And I love you all more than words can say. And we're in this together. And oaths are made. We're committed. All right. See ya. Bye.